How's it going, everyone? My name is Case, and in this video we have some exciting news because there are 5 brand new BMW motorcycles. That's right, they're all their heritage models, which is their kind of old school, more stylish bikes. That means there's one new version of the R18, it's called the R18 Classic, and there are 4 versions of the RnineT. Now, first off, we're going to start out with the R18. And even if you're not into big cruiser bikes like that, you should stick around to the end because there are a whole lot of awesome things going on with the RnineT as well. With the R18, you've got the same 1,802cc air-cooled boxer engine. That's not surprising because this motorcycle just came out, so it's not like they're going to change the engine anytime soon. 91 horsepower and 116 foot-pounds of torque, which is a healthy figure, and that's good to know because the standard version of the R18 weighs in at over 760 pounds, and this new version, the R18 Classic, isn't going to be any lighter because the primary differences, are the fact that it has electronic cruise control, a windshield, 16-inch front wheel, a passenger seat, saddlebags, some extra auxiliary lights, and they're also expanding their range of custom parts that you can buy from the factory, not only for the R18, but for the RnineT as well. And we'll get into some of the specifics of those a little later on. Now, so far, BMW hasn't mentioned anything about pricing and availability for these new versions of their existing bikes. But what we do know is that the R18 starts at around about $17,500 and the first edition starts at just under $20,000. So we can expect that the R18 Classic is going to have a slight premium on those numbers. Now let's go ahead and get into the RnineT. Like the R18, the RnineT still rocks the same engine that it had before, but because of Euro 5 emissions compliance, it has been changed slightly. Specifically, it has new cylinder heads, which use what's called a turbulence system to create a better mixture in the combustion chamber. This allows for not only cleaner emissions, but also improved torque. Now, the torque figure is the same as it was, 86 pound-feet of torque, but between 4,000 and 6,000 RPMs, that torque curve is just a little bit fuller. So you should be able to feel just a bit more response from that motor in that window of RPMs. Previously, the peak horsepower on the RnineT was 110 at 7,750 RPMs, and now that number has dropped only back to 109. So it's 1 horsepower different, which is negligible. And actually, it achieves that 109 horsepower figure at 7,250 RPM. So it's 500 RPM sooner that you're getting your peak power, which I think overall pretty much just makes it a wash. It's really probably not going to be any slower. If anything, it might feel a little bit snappier because of that extra torque. For 2021, the RnineT also has a bunch of new standard features, including ABS Pro with dynamic brake control. There's also a new suspension strut, which is standard and can be preload adjusted by turning a hand wheel. There's also a couple riding modes that are pro now, such as rain and road. Before those were options, now they come on the bike without you having to pay any extra. There's also a new LED instrument dial with a standard USB that lets you charge up your phone. And there are white LED indicators and an LED headlight. But there are also a couple of new optional features for 2021, including some new riding modes, one of which is called Dyna, and that's for the RnineT Pure and the RnineT. They're more street versions. There's also a dirt riding mode, which is available on the RnineT Scrambler and the RnineT Urban GS, which they have brought back, and that is very exciting. And we'll get into the specific 4 models of the RnineT for 2021 in just a moment. Another new optional feature is the Comfort Package, which offers heated grips, cruise control, and riding modes pro. Option 719, which is BMW's custom part catalog for the R9T, has expanded as well. Now you can get more wheels, more accessories like a tracker-style rear end, and there's even a special edition of the new Urban GS, which celebrates 40 years of GS using a paint scheme that harkens back to the R100 GS. And you can also check out a video that we made about another special edition GS with a similar paint scheme that came out just a couple weeks ago. There are also tons of new color options on the R9T, my favorite of which is this option 719 color scheme that you see right here behind me. It's got this cool retro style to it. You can see it says 719 on the tank. And you can actually see a couple of the custom parts that you can buy for these bikes fitted onto this one. You get machined engine covers. They're trying to do kind of the same thing that Harley-Davidson does in terms of offering parts from the factory that you can use to individualize your bike. So that way you're not going to void your warranty. You know that everything is going to work together and it's going to be the same quality as what you would have gotten from the factory. And to do that, they're even working with companies like Roland Sands Design, Vance & Hines, and Mustang Seats to make sure that all those parts are going to be actually pretty good. Now, the four models of the R9T for 2021 are the R9T, the R9T Pure, the R9T Scrambler, and, like I said, the Urban GS. Now, the Pure, the Scrambler, and the standard R9T, those were all available in 2020, but the Urban GS was not. Now, starting at the most basic level, the R9T Pure is kind of a stripped down version of the bike. It doesn't have the Öhlins inverted forks, it doesn't have as sophisticated brakes or rear monoshock, it doesn't have as many electronics, but that also means it starts at just under $10,000, which makes it a reasonably affordable bike. And it has the same engine and same power figure as all the other R9T models. 109 horsepower, 86 foot-pounds of torque from that 1170cc air-cooled boxer engine. Next, you have the R9T Scrambler, which is a slightly more rugged, stylized version of the R9T Pure. So it still doesn't have the most sophisticated suspension and brakes and everything, but it's a little bit different. It's got higher pipes, a few things that differentiate it in terms of style, and that starts right around $13,000. The R9T Urban GS is also right around $13,000, or at least it was previously, because again, the actual pricing and availability for 2021 isn't available yet. So these are some of the previous prices that we can use to figure out what these bikes are likely to cost. Now, the Urban GS is a more extreme, more stylized version of the R9T that still has, again, those more basic components, but it's got a high-mounted fender, it's got knobby tires, and a pretty cool fairing that sits right around the headlight. So it's a different style. I like it a lot. That's my personal favorite variant of the R9T, but they're offering a number of different versions of the bike so that you can really option it however you want. Now, the top dog of the R9T is just called the R9T, and that starts in 2020. It started at $15,500. Now, that is the fully spec'd out one with all the electronics, the best suspension, the best brakes, everything like that. Now, one omission from this group of R9T motorcycles is the R9T Racer. I know there were a lot of people that were hoping that that version of the bike was going to come back. It's essentially an old school cafe racer version of the bike. It's also got a really cool looking fairing, and it fits the style of the R9T because that bike already has indents in the tank like a cafe racer would. It's too bad that we're not getting that version of the bike for 2021. But at the same time, there are plenty of cool options like we just discussed, so it's not like we're at a huge loss here. Now, a quick note on the R9T. I have actually had a chance to ride the top dog version of the R9T with the Öhlins inverted forks and everything like that. And if you're shopping this segment of motorcycle, it is definitely worth a look. Anyways, that's all for this video. As always, this is Case with TFL Bike. Be sure to drop a comment below and let us know what you think of these two motorcycles. Which one would you buy and how would you spec it out? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.